Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw. I'm here at ILTM Con. It's the first day, and we're doing a lot of interviews with great hoteliers here, and we got one right here. If you haven't heard of Minor Hotels, Minor Group, you should, because they've been exploding the last few years with a number of brands, and Antara, NH Collection, Avani. We'll talk about a lot of this, and they're really all over, and they're in Europe. They started in Asia. The story is great about how they started, and we're going to talk to Ian a little bit about that, and you'll find out about that on Insider Travel Report. Now, let's talk a little bit about Minor Hotel Group. How many different brands do you have?
We have 8 brands currently. Looking to expand probably with another 2 or 3 brands, going into next year.
And let's highlight some of the major brands. The one I have done a lot of is Anantara, which is your luxury, mostly resort, but also city hotel brand, right?
It is. Anantara is our luxury baby, of course. It is our prime brand. It was certainly launched in the resort space first, but increasingly taking a strong spot in some of the major capitals worldwide, namely in Europe.
Yeah, and I've visited a bunch. There's a wonderful Anantara in Budapest, for example,
Yes.
a wonderful place. Now, the other one, you have another one called Avani, and what is that?
Avani is our upscale brand. It's a brand which is a bit more funky. It's a little bit more fun in the lifestyle space. It's a brand that allows us, of course, to play around with different spaces, as you can imagine, and it is also a brand which allows us to interface with our portfolio customers. As you can imagine, we work with a lot of funds and companies that own assets, and so when we do approach them, we have the capacity to offer them all of these 8 brands, not only Anantara at the top end, but brands all the way down to mid-scale, which is our Oaks brand, which originated in Australia.
Yeah, and then you had a brand you just purchased a few years ago, Tivoli,
Yes.
which was in Portugal, mostly in Portugal and Brazil, and I've actually spent a lot of time, and that's a brand you're trying to expand too, right?
Absolutely. The Tivoli brand is such an iconic brand, first of all. It's you should, if you haven't visited Tivoli in Brazil, you need to visit Tivoli in Brazil. It is absolutely mind-blowing. It is a brand which we acquired a number of years ago, been tremendously successful. It's also a brand which I would call it the upper upscale segment, which is slowly making its way into our luxury portfolio. So as the company matures and our portfolio brand expands, we're being a lot more careful about what type of assets we bring into the mix, and we're actually trying to bring most of our brands into the upper upscale, and luxury segments.
Yeah, and actually I spent a good deal of my time in Portugal in Tivoli hotels, from the one in Lisbon to the Sintra, they had a palace out there, to ones out by and actually that was you had rebranded as an Anantara out in down south. It was really amazing. All these, really amazing places. And now you're moving beyond Portugal and Brazil, right?
We are. We just opened an Anantara in Amalfi, which is a converted convent. Absolutely brilliant.
I saw it from the distance. I was almost going to stay there, but I didn't get there quite then. But it's an amazing thing. So Anantara, so you would say that the brands you're really trying to expand the most now are probably Anantara and maybe Tivoli, right?
Yeah, we do. We do have a real focus on Anantara. Tivoli, absolutely. It also lines up with where the market is evolving. You can see that the growth rate in those segments is tremendously high. As we all know, luxury and ultra luxury is an expanding segment. And we're also looking at expanding the brands in Europe into Asia. So the NH's NH Collections.
Well, we wanted to talk about NH Collection because NH and NH Collection, which I think were originated in Spain, if I recall. And I just stayed and we did an interview with the first NH Collection in New York City and on Madison Avenue. And I was tremendously, surprised, not the word, but it was just a lovely stay, a wonderful property. And you're building on those, right?
Absolutely. Madison is a good example of the first NH Collection we have in the U.S., but it is a brand that you have to discover. It is a brand that I've certainly discovered throughout the years working in Europe, but if you have a chance, I would check out Florence. It is mind-blowing. It is the hotel with the most beautiful view of Florence I've ever seen. Yeah. So if you have a chance, I think NH Collection, another upscale brand in our portfolio, and it's a brand which is also expanding quite rapidly.
Well, I noticed that you've recently expanded to Maldives, right?
Exactly. We've just expanded to the Maldives, and it's also expanding into Asia. We actually have one opening up in Chiang Mai.
So you have that brand, and actually Anantara is also in the Maldives. One of my favorite ones there was in the Maldives. So amazing stuff. So a lot of expansion going on. And just tell us very quickly, because the story is amazing. There's who started this company, and he's still around. I just told you, so I really want to meet him one day. He's an incredible entrepreneur. But give us the short version of the story.
I mean, the short version of the story. Depends what story you want to hear. But I mean, first of all,
eventually the one that he tells me.
He wrote a lovely book called The Entrepreneur, which I think everyone should read.
This is Bill
Heineke. And Bill started this company when he was a miner, which is why the company is called Miner. He actually asked his parents for money, and so, of course, as they registered the company, they registered him as a miner. So that is the history behind Miner. Many people ask us, why are you called Miner Hotels? And that is the fundamental reason why the company is called Miner. So when you actually know the reason, it's really kind of transformative, because at the beginning you're kind of like, oh, minor, that means small. Not at all. No. It means actually someone started as an entrepreneur when he was actually a young boy.
It was like selling franchises for like Kentucky Fried Chicken or something at one point. Right?
I mean, Bill is a serial entrepreneur. He launched himself into the food business. He has a tremendous footprint in food, but his love is food. Built that franchises in
now he's building up a hotel franchise like out of style, right?
Next thing you know, he just exploded in the hotel space. Amazing. So what used to be a very food-dominated business kind of become a hospitality business, and guess what? We're now learning the best of both worlds, where we're bringing food into hospitality and hospitality into food.
Well, if you want to find out one of the fastest growing hotel chains, hotel collections, I would say, all these different brands, you got to look at Miner. It really is amazing what they've been doing. Every time I turn around, I'm getting another release about another, and they're all wonderful properties. This is the thing. I mean, one of my favorite places in the Maldives was that Anantara, one of the Anantaras there, and Kiava was an amazing place, and the general manager there is a hoot. I enjoy him. And then all these other wonderful brands that you have, NH Collection, and some of the city hotels, Anantara, and as I said, Portugal with Tivoli is really, you can't miss there. It's an amazing place. Now, anything else you want to tell our 126,000 travel advisors about the brands that you have?
Well, I mean, look out for Miner Hotels. You will hear a lot more about us going into next year, and probably one of the freshest pieces of news, which hasn't even been published yet, is we are opening an Anantara in Vienna. Really? So that is brand spanking new.
When is that going to happen?
Well, it will actually be probably in the first quarter of next year.
That's quick. It's coming on.
We like to do things really quickly.
I know, and you do. And so I'm looking forward to that one. Is this an historic building or a new build?
It's an existing hotel. I will make the announcement in the coming days. Okay. But it is a conversion, and it is an absolute gem.
Well, it's going to be great. It's one of the places I want to visit in Vienna. I go to Vienna a fair amount doing river cruising and things like that. So, Ian, great to see you here at ILTM. Fantastic news about Miner. And where can travel advisors go to learn more about Miner and all your brands?
Well, you can go on minerhotels.com, which is where you can always find us, or you can go to our lovely Marion, which everyone in the world knows as the contact for Miner, obviously.
Fantastic. Again, Ian, hopefully you have a great show the rest of the few days. You find out all about Miner on the website, and this is Insider Travel Report.